know what Sony had? The Holy Trinity. Leo, Brad, and Margot. Who do you have?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boy Party, the podcast about movies where two major stars share the screen and battle it out for screen time, top billing, the fatter paycheck, and the most acclaim. My name is Lucian Waddaley, and I'm joined, as always, by the reflection that I see in the bath every time I go to the bathroom. It's Shane Kelly.
Good evening.
Hello. This is the first movie we're discussing in the year 2026. The first proper film-specific episode we're doing in the new year. So Happy New Year, everybody. And, of course, we had to do a big hitter, a beloved classic, a film that everyone has definitely seen. So we're doing What Lies Beneath.
A film that definitely wasn't an afterthought and made entirely to keep some staff on the books so they wouldn't run away.
One of the most expensive afterthoughts of all time.
Yep.
For what it's worth, this film is well liked, and I think people who have seen it are pretty fond of it. So it's not. I don't think it's quite a movie that doesn't exist.
No,
I think that it is something of a lesser entry in its director and its stars' careers, but it is not forgotten. I don't know. I assume you had not heard of this film a week ago.
No, of course
but
not.
that's all right. I think
I think
movie guy
between the two of our stars today, you could probably name 50 films,
and this wouldn't be one of them. As in, if I
you could name 50 of their films, I wouldn't know.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Because again, I have a blind spot for 80s biggest stars.
Yes, I don't think Michelle Pfeiffer has been in 50 films, though.
Probably not.
No. But I did struggle to find boy party movies to do Harrison Ford in. And that's why it's taken us 2 full years of this podcast.
He's just
to discuss.
too big of a star.
He's too big of a star. And there's a category of guys who very rarely share top billing or the limelight with another star. And Harrison Ford, until a couple of years ago, was one of those people. And really the only films throughout the last sort of 30, 35 years that you could pinpoint that are boy parties that he's in are this. Cowboys and Aliens is almost like a fake boy party because he's actually just a supporting character in that film. But we were going to do that for a while.
He's a supporting character in like Working Girl.
Yes, Working Girl is a supporting character. Sabrina would be a boy party if the actress was more famous.
Who's the actress?
I genuinely can't remember off the top of my
enough.
head. Someone I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049, kind of a boy party with himself and Gosling. I don't know, Morning Glory. Anyway, point is, we haven't done any of those. It's been 2 years. He is maybe in the conversation. He's in the conversation for the biggest American movie star of all time, although I wouldn't say he'd be my choice.
I don't think he ranked on either of our top 10 movie stars lists.
That was specifically a ranking of people we had covered on the podcast.
Oh,
and I actually said at our live show specifically that Harrison Ford had not been eligible.
Yes, and Henry Fonda, of course.
And that he might have made it if he'd been eligible, at Henry Fonda as well. So I think we have been somewhat neglectful in not covering Harrison Ford in 2 years of a podcast about movie stars.
Neglectful, and also we just don't care that much about him.
Yeah. Well, I like him.
Yeah.
I like him and I'm interested in him. But I wouldn't say he's one of my favorites. And I like the thing with Harrison Ford is that like he is obviously part of these very big IP things. Star Wars, Indiana Jones. He's the face of like 80s little boy bullshit. However,
no, not to be
yes
on this buzz, but is he the lead of a single 5-star film?
Is he the lead of a single 5-star
film? Or is he a major part of any?
Obviously, I am in the minority of people who would not consider any of the original Star Wars films or Blade Runner to be a 5-star film.
Sure. You kind of discount.
On that note, the only 5-star film that Harrison Ford is in my opinion, is Apocalypse Now, in which he has
a
small role. Yeah.
Oh.
He's in it. Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
I thought that was...
There's various...
Before his time, I guess not.
Various guys that are in it.
Fair
He's in The Conversation as well.
Oh, he is. Sorry, yeah, he's good.
So he's in a lot of 4-star films and only one 5-star film. But the thing I like about Harrison Ford that I've always liked is that he represents nerd geek culture. He's a big part of that, and yet he doesn't.
He has complete contempt for nerds.
Complete contempt for nerds,
yeah.
And he's a grumpy guy in a kind of a pleasant way, and he is so not oblivious, but kind of just disengaged with the type of fandom that he attracts, that I find him quite an endearing character, because I'm like, you are part of these big sci-fi things, but you are personally not uncool. He actually is quite cool.
Well, I think in a way he was the original guy as part of the original nerd spawning franchise.
Yes.
So before he did it, it didn't exist.
Sure.
Which means his entire frame of reference before he was in Star Wars was just like what movie stars were.
True.
So maybe he just never.
Yes, maybe he brought an old school movie star vibe to new geek media.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's genuinely very cool in Star Wars and in Indiana Jones, which is kind of crazy, because if you think of the other characters from 80s and 90s film that men consider cool, it's Marty McFly, it's John McClane. I don't consider those guys cool. I think Han Solo and Indiana Jones are genuinely very cool. And I think that is entirely down to Harrison Ford having a very nonchalant vibe when he's in the middle of these big sci-fi or action scenes. Have you seen any Indiana Jones films?
Just 15 minutes here or there on RT.
You're familiar with the great gag in Raiders where let's say an ethnic man in a certain scene does all these crazy sword tricks in front of
and he pulls out a gun
Indiana
and shoots
Jones, and he just pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
That's the kind of vibe he brings to the function in those movies, and it is very, very fun to watch. Which is guy who is being presented with big, high stakes, crazy, colorful.
But it's
silliness.
also not stupid fourth wall breaking of meta nonsense.
Yeah, and everyone who's tried to do Harrison Ford has failed by and large. And now there are key examples of people who have really tried to do Harrison Ford. And obviously the number one most obvious example is Alden Ehrenreich in the movie Solo, in which he literally plays young Harrison Ford. That is not a dreadful, memorably bad performance, because Alden Ehrenreich is a very talented actor.
Yeah.
But that film just fundamentally doesn't work. It's a broken film that was half directed by different people. And
as soon as you acknowledge the attempt at being Harrison Ford, the Harrison Ford in it ceases to exist.
So he just shouldn't be in that movie. No one should have been cast as young Han Solo. It was a foolish idea. Then you've got your kind of whole Chris Pratt thing in the 2010s, where Chris Pratt shows up in the Guardians of the Galaxy films and the Jurassic World movies, really attempting a Harrison Ford attitude, where he is, dealing with these big sci-fi things, these dinosaurs, and he's like, whatever, I don't care, I'm a cool guy. And that got old very quickly. Although I don't think Chris Pratt is actively bad in those Guardians movies, I do think he was never going to be Harrison Ford.
No, I don't think anyone really well, maybe they do, but I've never considered Chris Pratt as sexy.
No, but he was People's Sexiest Man Alive one year. There was certainly a cultural moment where he was being claimed as sexy.
Put Blake Shelton in Star Wars. I don't care.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Then the other person who got kind of tossed around 15 years ago as new Indiana Jones potential was Bradley Cooper, and then Bradley Cooper just completely kind of rejected that whole.
Was Brendan Fraser heading that way for a while?
But Brendan Fraser was always goofier and sillier. He was always embodying a slightly different thing. I would
the Mummy
say.
Not
He's
Indiana
more of a
Jones
comedian.
adjacent kind of.
The Mummy is Indiana Jones adjacent, but Brendan Fraser's performance in those films is quite different.
Yeah, I don't
Harrison
really.
Ford did. He's like Brendan Fraser's a comedy star,
Yeah.
and brought a comedic thing to those.
Sure.
I think Bradley Cooper could have maybe become the new Harrison Ford, but he wants to be, for some reason, like Woody Allen or something. Like, I don't even know who Bradley Cooper's aspiring to be. Clint Eastwood, I guess. Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So he's doing his like directing career and kind of odd roles here and there.
Doing Maestro and random bits like that.
But he is very much not the lead in adventure movies.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is doing bits like this, but whatever. We're not even going to put their names in the same sentence. And now you have Glenn Powell. I think Glenn Powell is operating in a very different lane. So there is no natural heir to Harrison Ford.
Gosling's probably a bit silly.
Gosling's a bit too silly, and when you put Gosling and Harrison Ford side by side,
Oh, sorry, I forgot. They're both in Blade
I don't
Runner,
think that you see a real parallel there in how they present on screen.
I don't know. Stuff like Fracture maybe earlier and Ides of March, or maybe more 40 at the beginning.
Maybe.
He's
Fracture has big Harrison Ford in the 90s energy to it.
Yeah.
So Harrison Ford, anyway, is a little bit out of character in the movie we're talking about today, because he plays the bad guy, which is a sort of twist that isn't particularly well hidden, but I think I certainly didn't go into this expecting Harrison Ford to be playing a murderous, cheating husband. The tagline on the poster does kind of give it away, which is he was the perfect husband until his big mistake followed them home. Which is a really weird tagline for a movie that is...
It's not catchy.
Well, it's terribly uncatchy. But this film, for the first 45 minutes, you think it is a Rear Window style, the guy next door has killed his wife movie. Mm-hmm. And then halfway through, it pivots to being a ghost movie.
Yeah.
And then in the last stretch, it's a My Husband is a Murderer movie. The tagline there really kind of skips to the end.
A little bit.
I feel like it doesn't actually give away the ghost bit at all, which is kind of the main selling point of this film, which comes out 1 year exactly after The Sixth Sense. And in fact, this film was probably being made before The Sixth Sense was a huge hit, so you can't even attribute it to kind of being a ripoff. But The Sixth Sense, biggest hit of 99, huge ghost movie for adults. And then this comes out a year later, a movie in which a woman is seeing ghosts in the bathtub and in the mirrors, and it's very Sixth Sense in that way.
Genre-wise, it is a thriller, soft comedy.
Yes.
Or, soft horror.
But the ghost stuff is the most interesting stuff about this.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford is kind of playing against type. He is background character for most of it, husband working away in the office, comforting his wife, but not actually integral to the action. And it's a real Pfeiffer vehicle. And then towards the end, he becomes a bit more crucial because he becomes violent and scary, and drugs are and six are in the bath and all this.
Almost like a recent box office success, The Housemaid.
The Housemaid. It is funny how there's such a lack of like erotic thrillers these days that we'll be sitting down watching What Lies Beneath and just immediately drawing parallels to The Housemaid, a film that is not that similar to it.
No,
but I guess you're right in that the
structure of the husband becoming the lead towards the end.
True, the husband being secret villain is similar.
But I guess on the topic of sex there, all the sexual stuff in The Housemaid is so deliberate and planned.
Yes.
Whereas in this, it's just kind of casually run throughout it.
Yes.
Where it's like, it's not a plot point at all.
Apart from the one scene where Michelle Pfeiffer suddenly becomes like an insanely OTT seductress and then is quickly revealed to be possessed by the spirit of the dead woman.
Yeah.
That's the only time in this that sex is used narratively.
Yeah.
Whereas
like they're just passively like listening to the neighbors.
Yes.
In certain scenes. And
yes, there is a funny sex scene in this where they open their window wide so that they can listen to the neighbors' loud sex during their own
let's try and
intimate
top
moment.
That.
Yeah. But there's a scene then halfway through where it's like a dream sequence in how it's shot, where Harrison Ford walks into the room and she's like sitting on a step in a red dress and is like really, really turning up the eroticism. And he's like, "What are you up to?" And then within about 30 seconds, you're like, "Oh, she's like actually not herself at all. She is the woman that he had an affair with." And then we find out killed. And it turns out this is a movie in which Michelle Pfeiffer has forgotten about her husband's affair from a car crash that wiped her memory.
Missed that point.
Sorry, this is really bad writing. She remembers halfway through the film that he had an affair that she did know about.
Yes.
But then she forgot about it because of a car crash. Yeah. And halfway through the film, she remembers, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you remembered. Okay, you remember that
you
now.
got me. That's bad.
You knew about it, but now you've remembered."
Yeah.
And then she starts to be able to figure out the mystery and why he murdered this younger woman and why she's popping up everywhere.
There's like some dreadful exposition at the start of drip feeding the car crash.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to figure, like, you've seen the ghost at this point.
Yeah.
And you're kind of trying to figure out.
You think the ghost is the neighbor,
but also maybe the husband. We
then-
thought Harrison Ford was a ghost for a little while.
Oh, well, I thought he was walking around the house as a ghost, whereas the woman in the mirror and in the bathtub, I thought was you're led to believe is the next door neighbor's wife who's been killed. But then turns out the next door neighbor's wife is alive, and in fact the woman in the ghost is the woman he had.
Another
it's
one.
really stupid and complicated. There is a good gag which we wanted to reference, which is when she goes to a party with the couple.
She at a previous point, I think she has accused the neighbor of killing his wife.
Yeah, she's gone up to him and like, "You killed your wife." So then he goes, "I didn't kill my wife. She's right here," and everything's figured out. And then Michelle goes to a party a few days later that couple is at, and she looks across the room and they wave at her, and then the husband does like a joke strangulation motion on his wife's neck and laughs. It's very funny. It's like something out of What's Up Doc. It's really good joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kind of tries to combine Rear Window, Sixth Sense, and The Housemaid all into one movie. It's not quite an erotic thriller. It's not quite a ghost movie. I think it ends up being a little bit unsatisfying on all fronts as a result.
This film also like features Ouija boards.
Yes, it features Ouija boards. It's just very long. It's very very kind of claustrophobic and mostly set in the house. There's not a lot of scope to it, and I don't, with all the will in the world, think that these two stars alone can keep something interesting for this long when the film has no other real characters in it.
Yeah.
Now there is a kind of a background to this film in that it was written by the original script was written by a female filmmaker called Sarah Kernigan, and then her script was basically bought. They said goodbye to her, and then they handed it over to Clark Gregg to adapt into a new script. Now, Clark Gregg is the man who plays Agent Coulson in the Marvel movies. He is a pretty charming character actor who, for a very brief moment in 2013, was the biggest star on network television because he popped so much in the Avengers and was then killed off at the end of that film that in 2013 ABC launched an entire TV show based around him called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which ran for like 7 seasons, and he is the lead of that show. And it was a really funny case of bit part guy in movies becoming overnight TV leading man just because of a background character in superhero movies that became a fan favorite. Like, no one has ever pulled a fucking scam like Clark Gregg has done to become a lead overnight. And fair play to him. But this was his first credited produced script ever, which is really weird because I think the script is not that great. So I'm wondering what Spielberg and the guys at DreamWorks saw in him that thought that he would make be the right person to turn What Lies Beneath into a finished script. But anyway, you can kind of tell that there's been a bit of mess in here, and also that there was perhaps an interesting movie here about a woman in a marriage dealing with a complex series of events involving her husband's infidelity and her fucking seeing ghosts and hearing things and all this, and maybe putting a kind of a mediocre male writer on it didn't let that side of it come out as much.
No. It's an unusual shift there to obviously like something enough to buy it off
but not wanting to let her vision come to fruition. Sorry, I was led to believe at one point that Harrison Ford's like medical or pharmaceutical research was going to be integral to the plot of this film.
It was.
When it said on the poster that his biggest mistake followed them home, I thought that the ghost stuff was going to end up being some sort of like medical experiment shit, like psychosis. Yes, exactly. That seemed way more likely than just it's actually ghosts, and at the end of the movie the ghost is gonna like come to life. And
no, where it does pop up is he douses a rag in what he is producing, which what it does is it paralyzes your body but keeps you awake.
So she's lying in the bath, and this is all just convoluted setup to lead to the one sequence in the film that Robert Zemeckis had a really good handle on how he was going to shoot, which is her in the bathtub using her toes to unplug the drain so that she can escape.
Yeah, she basically can't move, and she's able to kind of jolt her entire body to pull a plug.
Yes.
It's a good scene.
It's a good scene. It's the best scene in the film probably, and it's a good case of like a director being like, I need to make something very focused right now.
Yeah.
This would be the kind of scene I would enjoy shooting and doing my Hitchcock psycho
great, like water is
scene.
Slowly rising in the bath and it's good stuff.
And you can see where there's like Hitchcockian elements here that Zemeckis obviously wanted to
just
try,
like The Housemaid. Amanda Seyfried tried to drown the child in the bathtub.
Yes, true.
Well,
Housemaid is a better movie than this. I think most films are better when they do not have ghosts in them. I think ghosts are not an interesting conceit, and they create shortcuts that I don't find interesting. And the ghost pulling Harrison Ford down into the depths of the ocean at the end of this film is a really silly and uninteresting way for this film to end. I don't know. I used to find ghosts very scary. Or not ghosts. I used to find like women, pale women appearing in things, jump scares, to be the scariest thing in the entire world.
Oh, it is.
I don't really as much anymore. I didn't find the stuff in this to be that scary. It didn't linger with me. However, friend of the show, Christina, when we watched this with her, I hope she doesn't mind me saying, got really freaked out afterwards and got jump scared 3 times in the subsequent 24 hours. Once,
and it's simply just you walking into the room behind her.
She knew I was coming.
Yeah.
I walked up to the room and I walked in and said hello something, and she screamed louder than I've ever heard before and jumped.
Sorry, your bedroom is 2 floors above mine.
Yes.
Can essentially hear nothing from it ever.
Yes.
I heard her scream.
The same exact thing happened the next morning in broad daylight. And then the exact same thing apparently happened with her sister when she went home that evening. So this film really worked on her, and she liked it a lot more than we did, I think. So that's good. There is an audience for it.
I think but this fundamentally it's not the worst. Well, fundamentally it is bad, but it has a vibe and it has some ideas.
Is this the first film we've ever covered on the podcast that could be classified as a horror film? Because we famously, I do not engage with horror.
This is barely horror.
It's barely horror, but it is listed as a horror film on Letterboxd.
Like you wouldn't count Red Eye's horror.
Well, what do you think? Do you think Red Eye's listed as a horror on Letterboxd? I doubt it.
Probably not.
It might be. We're about to find out. I am pulling up the master list, and we are going to.
Is this the definitive authority on horror?
This is going to be just the basis that we use for this conversation. Okay. There is one film we've covered on the podcast that is listed as a horror film before What Lies Beneath, and it is not Red Eye.
It's Titanic. There's ghosts at the end.
So can you guess what it is? This film definitely isn't a horror film, but it is a film with...
is there supernatural elements?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's like... its frighteningness is diluted by the fact that it is set in the past. It is very hyper stylized. It is not necessarily a conventional narrative film at all. But it does have
The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse is
yeah.
listed as a horror film here. That is
sure.
That's just kind of a film that they couldn't come up with the genre for on Letterboxd, I'd say. The Lighthouse is not a horror film. That is it. Other than that and What Lies Beneath, we've never covered a horror film. Isn't that funny? So there you go.
Maybe we'll get into it.
I don't think so. No. I don't think so.
Big scaredy pants over here.
Big scaredy pants over here. SpongeBob scaredy pants. But anything else to say about this? I mean, we have never done a Robert Zemeckis movie before.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the production of this?
Yeah. So basically, Robert Zemeckis shot the first portion of Castaway.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks needed to fuck off and lose a bunch of weight and become emaciated. So as a result, they were like, let's go make a movie where we can keep the entire crew employed for the, 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was filmed while Tom Hanks was losing weight and growing a beard. The majority of the crew was the same crew as Castaway. Zemeckis said, you can't afford to hold a crew for a year, so I took the same crew and rolled them into What Lies Beneath and then rolled them right back onto Castaway. We were paying people to wait for Tom to lose weight, so we made a movie in between. We wrapped Castaway in April, started Beneath in August, wrapped in December, and then back to Fiji in March. So it was basically just one double production that lasted 2 years. They started shooting August 1999, and then it came out in July 2000. So it was done very quickly. So sorry, it started filming right after Sixth Sense came out. So it was definitely in the back of their minds. And I wonder whether there's some maybe on-set script changes as a result.
Oh, potentially. To cash in.
Yeah, Harrison Ford signed on to star in the summer of 98. Okay, so he had signed up to it a year before. So it wasn't a last-minute thing that they jumped into. This kind of happened again. I think this is basically what Spielberg did on The Post, where Ready Player One was being CGI'd.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like...
Sorry, he made The Post in 4 months.
The Post started filming, as we've discussed. This is insane shit. The Post started filming in June 2017.
It was out in November.
It was out in November, December. Absolutely ludicrous.
Bananas.
I don't even and I think you can tell, The Post is not the best version of what it could be. But that was a similar case of Spielberg being like, okay, I have some time to kill now before my big VFX heavy thing comes out. And Tim Burton did this. Tim Burton would throw a live action film on the schedule while he was waiting for some stop motion to get done, whatever.
You put the rice on when the chicken's in the oven.
Yeah, exactly. Ford and Pfeiffer were Zemeckis' first and only choices for the lead roles. Fox agreed to distribute both this and Castaway. And yeah, basically this movie ended up costing $100 million, and I guess that was just that they
in
paid
fucking 90s money.
Yeah, I'd say they just paid everybody an enormous amount of money, and it made $300 million, so it made its money back. But I'd say that the actors were getting huge money here, and Zemeckis certainly was. Never talked about Robert Zemeckis on the show. I have a lot of affection for Robert Zemeckis as kind of a type of guy who is I guess he's not quite as much of a showman, look at me, as Spielberg is. But in my opinion, has made basically the same number of great films that Spielberg has, which is 2. And I think I find Spielberg so annoying in terms of how he brands himself as the king of movies. And basically, I just don't like that Spielberg is shorthand for film director when he has never been close to being one of the best film directors. Whereas Robert Zemeckis was kind of like doing the same stuff the whole time.
To probably reasonably similar
success, but has never been a household name in the same way. I mean, there's just no way that most people in my life know who Robert Zemeckis is.
It's just harder to spell.
Well, it's pretty hard to spell. I don't know.
Zemeckis.
Spielberg, Zemeckis. I don't know. But I like Robert Zemeckis. I think he seems like a nice guy. I don't find him as annoying as Spielberg. I think he kind of just minds his own business. He's made some really bad films. He has made more dreadful movies than Spielberg, but his kind of like his middle median quality, I think, is more or less the same. My favorite Zemeckis movie at this point in my life is his first film, I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is a 1978 movie about the Beatles and a bunch of teenage girls who go to New York. Have you not heard of this? This is a really fun movie.
I know this.
It's about a bunch of teenage girls.
It's like a day trip kind of thing.
Yeah. And they go to New York to stalk the Beatles at their hotel, and they break into the hotel. It's really good. I'm not going to run through his whole career. Obviously, he made Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future 2, 3, Death Becomes Her, Forrest Gump, a film I have a complicated relationship with. I think Forrest Gump is pretty good, but it represents a sinister intent in American culture. I think it's quite a right-wing movie, but I don't think that's his fault. It's just boomer nonsense.
It is boomer nonsense.
Everyone knows this about Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I don't really have any interest in a lot of his genre stuff, like Contact. I don't have any interest in Death Becomes Her. I am a child who grew up on the Polar Express and have seen that movie 21 times. Mm-hmm. I have seen that more than any other film. I watched it every Christmas Eve from 2004 until 2023. And I finally cold turkey from Polar Express, and let me tell you,
years,
life.
26 years?
It was 20 straight years. And let me tell you, life is looking better every day since I
have you replaced it?
Cut off. No, I don't need that kind of
you don't need Christmas
silly
tradition.
routine nonsense in my life. Beowulf, A Christmas Carol, he did more nonsense mocap stuff. Flight, I really like. I think Flight's one of his best movies. Flight is so rewatchable. It made Bill Simmons' list of the most rewatchable movies.
Of course it did.
Rightly so.
God, I need to listen to that episode.
Flight is such a fun watch.
Yeah.
The Walk is okay. Allied is okay. Welcome to Marwin, I walked out of halfway through. It was freaking me out. I've written extensively and spoken extensively about why that movie freaked me out. It is a really, really disturbing film. I don't think people appreciate how scary it is. And it is I think, a pretty interesting look into the dark recesses of Robert Zemeckis' mind. He is kind of fucked up in a way that Spielberg isn't, or isn't.
It's little like suicide toys, isn't it? Or
well,
something?
it's got weird suicide stuff and little toys in it. But like something Zemeckis does that I think is under discussed maybe is casting his own wife in his movies. And in all the animated or animation adjacent movies, she's always playing some sort of like hyper-sexualized animated character. It's just an interesting thing I think people should look into. It's just he kind of has a funny way of incorporating his sexual relationship with his wife into his movies. And I think
like
that
the fact that she's in them means she's probably on board.
Oh,
and
100%,
100%.
But it's he's got a kind of a freaky side that Spielberg does not have.
Yeah.
Spielberg is the most sexless filmmaker ever.
Maybe the way to go about that is to cast your wife in your weird pervert
he's getting it out
roles.
of his system.
Yeah.
The Witches and Pinocchio are both dreadful streaming movies. And then I really liked Here, which was his crazy experiment that he did last year, which is a movie set entirely in one corner of a room, and it is the history of time from dinosaurs to the future, set in one corner of a room, and all the different people that pass through that space and that home. And Tom Hanks and Robin Wright were in it. It is a crazy experiment. It's full of awful CGI. I thought it was very
I don't
effective.
understand how that's not completely unwatchable and so static.
Super watchable. Skips around every 2 minutes from year 0 to 2022.
But like the camera never moves.
1970. Camera never moves. But the people move around the camera.
Yeah.
No, it's real good. It's like looking through a window into people's lives.
I know.
Home is good.
I've never looked through a window for more than 90 minutes.
That movie should be called Home, not Here. He's currently making a crime thriller film with Jennifer Lopez and Nicola Coster-Waldau. Oh boy, Buddy has entered his Brian De Palma in the 2010s era.
What lies beneath?
Making a Nicola Coster-Waldau thriller for Netflix is not what one of our great blockbuster filmmakers should be doing. Anyway, that's Robert Zemeckis. Every single year at work, I have to find a jury of international acclaimed filmmakers to put together to decide the best Irish film of the year. The first person I email every single year is Robert Zemeckis, in the hopes that one day he will not have a project on the go and say yes, because I think it would be really fun to have Robert Zemeckis on a jury.
Does he ignore you, or does he just say no?
Does his agent gets back every year and says that he's busy because he's always filming something. He's always shooting something. He's in his 80s, I assume, and he won't stop working. So fair play to him. All right, we're at 30 minutes. We haven't discussed either of our stars' careers. We got a big doozy of a career to get to with Harrison Ford. Let's get into it. Harrison Ford, as I mentioned, pops up in Apocalypse Now and The Conversation, American Graffiti. He also pops up in the Jack Lemmon movie Love, L-U-V. But then in 1977, George Lucas, having worked with him in American Graffiti, casts him as Han Solo in Star Wars, a movie I'm going to reckon you haven't seen.
No.
Okay, do you know what his character's deal is?
He is like fucking space cowboy, and he has Chewbacca.
Yeah, he has Chewbacca. That's
true. He has Chewbacca.
Chewbacca is an STD that he contracted.
He does, yeah.
So like in Star Wars, a lot of them have lightsabers, but he's got a blaster.
He's got little pistols.
He's got a little pistol. Right. He's like a space cowboy, sure. And he is the cynical guy who thinks that everything going on is a little bit silly. And Luke Skywalker is very naive and hopeful and is like, wow, the world is so amazing.
How do they cross paths?
In a bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Han Solo owes money to a bunch of guys, as far as I remember. And Chewbacca is causing him trouble constantly by going, "Aah!" So he has to like fucking run away.
STDs will do that to you.
Yeah, he has to run away with Luke Skywalker, and he's always like, "What is going on here?" And then he gets involved romantically with Carrie Fisher, who is Luke's sister.
Dog.
That's fine. And then he gets frozen in carbonite at the end of Empire Strikes Back, which is a great cliffhanger. That movie ends on Harrison Ford basically inside a door frame.
Yeah, I know.
Frozen. But they save him in the third movie. He returns to Star Wars 30 years later in The Force Awakens in 2015. And Mark Hamill was not included in the marketing for that film. He was basically kept a secret until that movie came out, and then the movie came out, and Mark Hamill shows up in the final 9 seconds of that movie.
Is this down in Kerry?
Down in Kerry, and is a silent performance, and then proceeds to be the lead of the next one.
Yeah.
But basically, because Mark Hamill was kind of out of the way, they relied very heavily on Harrison Ford and nostalgia for that character specifically to sell The Force Awakens. And
this was the first of the
like a sequel.
Yeah.
Shit. But as in, it's the first of the Star Wars, but this was the start of the modern era of let's bring back an old man who played a character 50 years ago and make them do another one, which has, to be fair, Harrison Ford did do that 10 years previously in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but this is now the thing that everyone does. They brought Goldblum back for Independence Day. Then they brought Goldblum and Sam Neill and Laura Dern back for Jurassic World. Then they brought Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd back for Ghostbusters. Everyone does this now.
Yeah.
They brought, sure, Harrison Ford did it again with Blade Runner and Indiana Jones. It's exhausting. But Harrison Ford, to his credit, I think was a huge part of why The Force Awakens became such a big, exciting thing. But
isn't The Force Awakens a top 10 highest grosser of all time?
It's top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, that is I think that's one of the only 2 billion grossers up there with the Avatars and Avengers Endgame. And that film is fine, but he's very good in it. I think he is actually pretty locked in that movie. And then the big dramatic thing that happens is that he is killed by his own son, Adam Driver, which is a very dramatic scene. And he is basically sliced in half and thrown off a bridge.
Oh, those characters are father and son.
Yeah, he's Adam Driver's father. As you can tell, they look exactly alike.
They do, very similar.
But you know what? I think Harrison Ford's way of talking kind of does translate to...
no, I agree.
Adam Driver's way of talking, which I cannot impersonate Adam Driver, but he kind of talks like this. It's a terrible impression. So obviously the Star Wars success spins off then into... Sorry, Apocalypse Now is after the first Star Wars movie. That's interesting, isn't it?
Huh.
Spins off, obviously, into the Indiana Jones franchise, which is produced by Lucas, written by Lucas, and directed by Spielberg, and is kind of the perfect pairing of character and actor. He gets to wear a cool hat. He gets to have a whip. He is basically the only person who could have made that character cool, and he does. Blade Runner is a much more kind of edgy adult sci-fi thing for Harrison Ford to be in. I mean, it is a much cooler movie than Star Wars. I don't personally like Blade Runner that much, but it is obviously him in a more adult mode. And that is the pivot point, I guess, to him becoming an adult movie star. And the door closes on Star Wars at the end of the mid-'80s, and then Harrison Ford is allowed to become like a cool, interesting leading man in adult movies. And he gets his only Oscar nomination in 1985 for the movie Witness, which is directed by Peter Weir. And the poster for Witness, I love this. I love that he had played Indiana Jones and they had gotten so used to his character being synonymous with his face that the poster for Witness says in massive letters, Harrison Ford is John Book Witness. John Book, a fictional character who only exists in the movie Witness. I love that. That would Michael Stuhlbarg is Larry Goffman.
They had that there in order to let you know that this was not an Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Sorry. Okay.
I guess I'm saying, well, maybe. What I'm saying is people needed to know the name of his character if they were going to watch the movie. You know?
Right, yeah.
You had to tell them, he's John Book in this one.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Mosquito in the Mosquito Coast. Yeah. And he does another weird movie the year later in the Mosquito Coast. But like Witness is really good, and it's a really fun movie where he's basically has to investigate a murder on like an Amish community. Or sorry, it's not in the Amish community. It's that the Amish mother and son have witnessed a murder, and he has to basically take them in and like get them to act as witnesses, but they are very antisocial.
I saw an interesting tweet today of someone pointing out an article on the Amish communities in America, and there was a great chart of showing which ones use which electrical appliances. It's not really supposed to, but every single Amish community listed uses the electric washing machine.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They will use nothing else, but that's the one they've realized.
They've just realized there's no point.
Yeah, it's completely unrelated to what we're talking about.
I'm glad that they're making compromises.
That is seemingly the best device.
That is the one device that they will make an exception for.
That is the one household utility.
That is interesting. Very good. Interesting, Harrison Ford only has one Oscar nomination.
Is it?
I mean, I don't, because I don't think he's a bad actor.
No.
I think if you're that famous and you're that beloved and you're not a bad actor, it's weird he hasn't gotten like 5 stray nominations here.
Fine, but when you're that kind of consistent and famous, you almost nearly have to do something a bit weird to be considered awardsy.
I know. It's too late now for him to win an Oscar. He won't. Like it's too late. There's nothing you could do with Harrison Ford now that I think. First of all, he's
fucking
not
an old man of the gun type thing.
Yeah, like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I also think that like it would take a lot now for people to take him seriously enough to give him an award because he has become Mr. Moneybags and basically only works when there's cash on the table.
Does he ever play anyone that's kind of not?
No. Well, we'll see. It's almost like we're running through his career.
I have some questions around
Action Man Harrison is the big 90s thing where he has got a gun on every poster.
Yeah.
Patriot Games, The Fugitive, Clear and Present Danger. Sorry, 2 of those are Jack Ryan movies. The Fugitive is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy Lee Jones wins an Oscar for The Fugitive. There is a world where Oscars are given out to
He's
Harrison
in Oscar-winning
Ford movies.
films.
Yeah. The Devil's Own is an IRA-themed movie that I have to watch sometime where Brad Pitt has an Irish accent. Then he's the president in Air Force One, and now he's Mr. middle-aged presidential type. Young Harrison Ford is gone, and now he is like
how many times has he
scholarly.
played the president?
I think twice.
This and Captain America.
Captain America Harrison Ford. Yeah. What did you call it? Captain America fuck?
Yeah.
What Lies Beneath is obviously at a pivot point where he's Mr. Middle-aged. You got shit like Firewall and all this. Not a whole lot happening in the 2000s for Harrison. You can see why he signs up to do Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He hasn't had a hit in a while. Crossing Over is actually quite a good performance, quite a good film about the sort of migrant world in LA, and he plays a immigration authority ICE agent guy who has like a kind of a conscience.
The Fugitive poster is ridiculous.
Him sprinting.
It looks like a fucking anime thing.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it? Extraordinary Measures, him and Brendan Fraser, medical drama, Morning Glory, Cowboys and Aliens, I mentioned already. And then he's doing a lot of slop in the 2010s. Up until Star Wars comes along, he's doing shit like Ender's Game, Paranoia, Expendables 3. I like him in The Age of Adeline. I think that's probably his last good performance. He plays like old man boyfriend to Blake Lively, who she meets later in life because she doesn't age. We're going to discuss that movie soon on our Blake Lively discussion. I like him in that. Then after Star Wars, Blade Runner sequel is the natural next step. And then he did one more Indiana Jones. He did Captain America, Harrison Ford, which he's really, really bad in. And then he's just on 2 very popular TV shows. He's on the Yellowstone spinoff with Helen Mirren that he does, and he's on Shrinking with Jason Segel. And I don't understand why he feels the need to work this much. He's very old. He's very rich. Every time he shoots a film, he seems to have a horrible accident where his arm gets caught in a fucking door, or he crashes a plane or something, or he breaks his leg.
Does he have young kids he's avoiding at home?
I don't think he has young kids, no. I don't know why he feels the need to be on 2 television shows simultaneously. That is the shit you do when you have bills to pay. He is Harrison Ford. He could do 1 commercial that would pay him as much as a full season of Shrinking. I guess he just wants to be on sets. He wants to be around people who love him and want to work with him. Jason Segel probably kissed his ass and was like, come be in my show. And he was like, oh, that's easy. They filmed it down the road.
Maybe he sees a ghost in his bathtub and doesn't like being home.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, every scene he's in Shrinking that I've seen is just him like drinking a coffee, having a casual conversation with Jason Segel. I don't think that is a particularly challenging role for him. Pfeiffer,
someone who I have even less of a relationship with than Harrison Ford.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. She's great.
I don't know her deal at all.
She's great. I love her. I
do too. I was very charmed by her.
Yeah, she's great. I first became aware of Michelle Pfeiffer right when her, I guess, quote unquote comeback happened. There is a really weird lack of Michelle Pfeiffer in the 2000s. I don't know what she was up to. Maybe she had children, but she makes What Lies Beneath and I Am Sam back to back in 2000, 2001. White and Oleander in 2002. And then she doesn't have another movie for 5 years. And when Stardust comes out in 2007, which is the moment that I became aware of who she was, I didn't know. I'd never heard of her because she hadn't had a movie out in my conscious life. And I remember going to see Stardust and being like, this is a very beautiful woman. And she's playing a little bit older in Stardust. She's playing a evil witch, and she's kind of, I think, made up to be old for a lot of that film. But I remember being like pretty blown away by her beauty and glamour and blondness, and as a 10-year-old being like, this is surely one of the most beautiful, beloved actresses alive. I felt very similarly when I first discovered Nicole Kidman. And funny thing about Michelle Pfeiffer, not Australian. One of the rare blonde Hollywood leading women of this era who is not from outside the United States. But because of that gap in the 2000s, I do think she, unfortunately and seemingly by accident, stopped being a lead and never became one again. And weirdly, the first mainstream film that she has been the lead of in years has just come out a few weeks ago, and it's this Christmas movie on Prime Video called Oh, What Fun, which I thought was perfectly fine, and all the women in my life thought was dreadful, and I'm interested in why that is. But anyway, it's a Christmas movie where she's basically a mom who does too much work at Christmas and her kids don't appreciate her. But it's like the first movie she's been the lead of, other than the Azazel Jacobs indie film French Exit, in a really long time. And that is so unfortunate because she's such a great leading woman. So and she's really good.
Is she primarily and exclusively an actress?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing else going on. Why?
I don't know. I think I just had her in my head as someone who was also like a singer.
No. That's because you watched 40 minutes of Fabulous Baker Boys the other night, in which she is a very convincing
that's not even it. This is
singer. Well, she did a lot of perfume ads in the 2000s, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
She's at the Nicole Kidman level.
Maybe I have a weird crossover with her, like Barbra Streisand is like kind of
right. No, she's not a singer. She is the star of Grease 2. She is the female lead of Scarface. She reunites with Al Pacino on a movie that I watched earlier today called Frankie and Johnny, which is a very charming Gary Marshall film where they work together in a diner, and she's very good in that. She is in a whole string of hits in the late 80s going into the 90s, parallel to Harrison Ford's career really taking off. She is one of the leads of Wishes of Eastwick. She is one of the leads of Dangerous Liaisons. These are Good Boy Parties, The Fabulous Baker Boys with Jeff and Beau Bridges. And she is very much framed in those movies as like the most beautiful woman ever. Oh my God, look at her. She's Michelle Pfeiffer. And then she works with Scorsese and Daniel Day-Lewis in The Age of Innocence, which is a really good film and a really good performance. And then, of course, her most iconic part ever is she's Catwoman in Batman Returns. And I don't think you've seen Batman Returns, but I think...
Who's the Batman?
Is the second of the Keaton movies.
No,
we discussed the first one on the podcast, but she's in the second one. And I think Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is a kind of a generational bombshell role. You know, that was a real like poster on the wall for a generation of pervy young men. And, you know, we would have been two of them if we were around in the 90s.
I think that kind of just happens with every Catwoman, to be honest.
Yeah, sure. But she's kind of the best Catwoman by default because that movie's so good. And she's got such a good arc in it. And she just gets to do a lot of, like, interesting stuff with Christopher Walken in that film. That's, like... I love the Hathaway Catwoman performance. But I think she's, like, kind of never going to be beaten as the most iconic and well-developed version of that character. And you know what? There's probably good money in having played Catwoman once, and that's maybe why she winds down the roles. But, you know, other 90s movies, Dangerous Minds, One Fine Day, 1,000 Acres, Deep End of the Ocean. And really, yeah, things drop off after What Lies Beneath. She's in the crazy Amy Heckerling movie, I Could Never Be Your Woman, with Paul Rudd, where Graham Norton plays her best friend, and Saoirse Ronan plays her daughter, which is a really weird Irish connection that I don't think has ever truly been explored. And then the same year as Stardust, she is Travolta's wife in Hairspray. She gets a very good musical number with him. And then it's all supporting roles in big movies. It's the sort of second of the female characters in Tim Burton's Dark Shadows, and then she's in Mother, and she's in the Murder on the Orient Express as part of the ensemble in that. And then at a certain point, she obviously is like, well, I may as well cash in big time, and she plays Janet Van Dyne in the Ant-Man movies. She is Michael Douglas's wife, who is rescued from
that's like an adequate pairing.
Yeah,
at least.
So she becomes one of the four leads of the Ant-Man movies, basically, which is Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Douglas, and her. And then she's in Avengers Endgame very briefly, and then she's the villain in Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and Ant-Man Quantumania, her final theatrically released film, and she's done Oh What Fun, and
I'd love to pitch Ant-Man as a Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer vehicle.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know, Michael Douglas has a lot to do in that first movie. And then she is about to star in an Apple show with Elle Fanning called Margot's Got Money Troubles, which I think sounds fun. I like the title, and I like the two of them together.
Yes.
And I think that she's way younger than you'd think. Like, and I mean,
she's 67.
She is 67. Like, she is not in her 70s. She is a generation below your Susan Sarandons and your Helen Mirrens, despite what you might think because she's been around for so long. She is still kind of like, I think,
she's a bit older than Julia Roberts. Julia
Roberts is younger. I think Julia Roberts is just 60 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but she could be playing a lot of those roles. She'd be great in After the Hunt.
Sure.
I mean, I think she's a much better actress than Julia Roberts. I like her a lot more than Julia Roberts in general. What I noticed in What Lies Beneath, she has a really interesting asymmetrical face where from one side in profile, she looks completely unrecognizable. There is a specific angle that Zemeckis shoots her from the side where if you showed it to me, I'd be like, I don't know who that is. But it's Michelle Pfeiffer. So yeah, I have a lot of positive feelings towards Michelle Pfeiffer. I think she's great. I think she has probably a number of interesting projects ahead of her, but obviously is not really starring in movies anymore, which sucks. But you know what? That Christmas movie that just came out, not that bad. And I think a good showcase of the type of comedy stuff she's capable of as well. So that is Pfeiffer done. So box office, please, sir.
The big BO.
We are skipping the letterbox game because I was unable to find a single person who has ever named this in their top four.
Like anyone at all or anyone famous?
Anyone famous.
Oh, okay.
I'm sick of doing the
Strange.
normie
Yeah, it's no fun.
Yeah. Nobody has ever been asked for their top four on a red carpet by Letterboxd and named this movie, which doesn't really surprise me. It's a pretty hard film to adore, I imagine.
Yeah. No, do we do the year or do we do the weekend?
Oh, we're doing the week.
Oh, sorry. It's 2000. Yeah.
July 21st, 2000.
I thought this was a little bit earlier.
So this is the middle of the summer. And I imagine that the highest grossing movie of this year was Mission Impossible 2. Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to figure out is, did Mission Impossible 2 come out in the sort of couple of weeks preceding this? I suspect that Mission Impossible 2 was a May release, because I associate Mission Impossible movies with May release dates. Although, no, now that I think of it, Rogue Nation and Fallout, and Dead Reckoning all came out in July. So in fact, I'm talking nonsense. Do you have the box office, sir?
No, you're going to have to pause it.
All right.
July 21st, 2000. Y2K didn't kill the movies.
No,
this
it did
opened at number 1.
Amazing.
Yep.
In the middle of summer.
To a healthy 30 million.
People used to care about movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? They still do. The Housemaid 2 coming soon.
Housemaid 2
All
coming
right.
soon. Oh, we've got an early entry into the old Marvel universe here.
X-Men.
X-Men. Just
Yeah.
X-Men.
X-Men.
Simply just
Bryan
X-Men. No,
Singer's
not a single colon in sight.
X-Men. Yeah. That's a pretty good film.
All right. Next up is a intellectual property that is not known for its films mostly.
TV.
No.
Okay. Video.
Sorry,
games.
it has. Yes, it's a TV show.
Star Trek.
No, but and an associated items you can buy.
Oh, weird. Is it Pokemon?
It's Pokemon.
This is Pokemon the movie 2000.
Just Pokemon 2000.
I've seen this, I think.
Really?
I can't remember. There's one that Brendan made me watch. I can't remember if it's this one or not. He'll text when he listens to this.
Number 4.
Yeah.
This is something that I guess this is a parody of sorts. It is the name of the film describes the type of film that it is.
That's abstract. Come on now.
Scary movie.
Scary movie. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. No interest.
Sure.
No interest in that.
No, not really. We're not getting a whole. I can see why It Lies Beneath was the
What Lies Beneath.
What Lies Beneath was the biggest film of the weekend.
It lay beneath.
What did I say?
I would want to lie beneath too. No, I'm doing a bit about
lies
it.
beneath-
I'm doing a
okay.
joke. Come on now. Keep going.
We got a Bruce Willis of the Bruce Willis of the year.
All right, now what would this be?
Bit
It's
of-
Unbreakable.
Nope.
Oh,
Bit of
another one.
Emily Mortimer, Lily Tomlin in there.
What?
Bit of Gene Smart.
No way. Bruce
Bit of-
and the Girls.
Yeah.
Emily Mortimer in 2000.
No, I've left off the second build person.
Because it gives it away.
It doesn't give it away. Like, I don't think anyone's ever heard of this. Sorry, you've watched this and given it 4 stars. Let's see what you said.
Sorry, it's a Bruce Willis movie I've given 4 stars.
Yeah.
This is Breakfast of Champions.
Nope.
This is... Well, what the fuck would I have given 4 stars? It's not Unbreakable.
You described this as Meet Joe Black for kids.
Oh, Disney's The Kid.
The Kid.
I really like this movie.
Yeah.
This is directed by National Treasure director John Turteltaub, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it? I think so. And it's
Indeed.
very charming. Spencer Breslin is the
Breslin,
kid.
yeah.
And
that's the name I left off.
this is just kind of a weird movie where like Spencer Breslin like flies a little propeller plane and crashes it and then goes to live with Bruce Willis. And I watched it in work one day and I found it incredibly charming. And I know it has a really bad reputation, but I thought it was lovely. And I thought it was one of Bruce Willis's best performances. So 4 stars for Disney's The Kid, the name of that movie.
Next up, we'll do 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
We've got a film here that down the list we've got a bit of Chris Cooper, a bit of Tom Wilkinson in this.
Oh, that sounds so good. Oh,
It's got Jason Isaacs.
oh no. Okay.
Oh, no.
No.
It's got a. This is a. No, it's not a boy party. It's boy party in that the lead and the second lead.
Have I seen it?
Huh?
Have I seen it?
No, you wouldn't watch this. You wouldn't watch this for
It's horror or sport.
war.
War. Is Cage in it?
No, it's
Gibson.
Gibson.
Yeah. Once We Were Kings or something.
No, this is The Patriot with
This is
Roland
a
Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich movie. Yeah,
Ledger.
I almost would watch it just to be an Emmerich completist.
Before they were soldiers, they were family. Before they were legends, they were heroes. Before there was a nation, there was a fight for freedom.
Like, if it was the only Roland Emmerich film I hadn't seen,
You'd watch it.
I'd watch it
Yeah.
for the sake of Chris Cooper and Tom Wilkinson. But like, no, I'm not going to rush to watch a Mel Gibson war movie. Jesus Christ.
All right, rounding out the top 10, we have Loser.
Oh, I love Loser. Sorry, excuse me. Loser sidebar incoming.
Okay.
So Loser is the Amy Heckerling movie with Jason Biggs and Mina Suvari. And one of the bullies in Loser is my friend of the show, Thomas Sadowski.
Oh, very good.
And I discussed this film with Thomas Sadowski last summer, and I asked him, was his hair in that film real or a wig? And he replied, it was real.
Very good.
Him and Jimmy Simpson play the bullies in that film. That movie is a millennial remake of The Apartment, and Greg
way.
Kinnear plays the Fred McMurray character.
Gas.
And it is basically The Apartment in a college dorm.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is a ton of fun and has the entire movie is effectively a music video for Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. And
God, that becomes really sinister when you translate it to
Mina Suvari is delightful. Jason Biggs wears a silly hat. I like that movie a lot. And
we kind of
Thomas had good memories of working.
Jason Biggs, American Pie.
Well, I really liked Saving Silverman and Loser.
But you had a month there.
Where I watched a bunch of Jason Biggs stuff. Yeah. No, I didn't watch American Pie. Our housemate watched American Pie.
Sorry, excuse me.
I've seen American Pie, but I like Jason Biggs, and I like that movie a lot. Amy Heckerling, who made the fucking Michelle Pfeiffer movie I just discussed 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. The last two of the top 10 are Chicken Run and Me, Myself, and Irene.
Who directed Me, Myself, and Irene? Is it the Farrellys? I guess it's the Farrellys, yeah.
Peter and Bobby.
There you go.
Indeed.
Never watched that the whole way through. All right. We're done.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you lie beneath tonight. The lie beneath tonight.
Please, before you go to bed tonight, check every window. Check every mirror.
Look in the water in your sink.
Look in the water in your sink.
And make sure you don't go, ah! All right. We'll be back next week, hopefully discussing a more memorable film. And that was our one horror episode for 2026.
Have we hit our 2-year anniversary yet?
This week is our 2-year anniversary.
This is it, yeah, okay.
Happy anniversary, folks.
Happy anniversary.
So not sick of each other, haha. Visit boypartypod.com. You can follow Boy Party Pod on social media, and we will be back next Tuesday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.